Hello everyone, thank you for joining. We're presenting a webinar today in conjunction with Solid. We have Mike Collado from Solid joining us, talking about densification of the network on the DAS and small cell side of things. First we're going to do a very quick review of Alliance, just so everybody's familiar with us. My name is Mike Short. I'm the Director of Wireless In-Building and DAS from Alliance. My contact details are there. If anybody has any questions, you can put them in the chat box, or you can send us emails and we can contact you afterwards as well. Alliance is the leading distributor of wireless infrastructure products. We have a world-class product inventory, extensive inventory, multiple warehouses across North America, highly technical people, and training and support and all those sort of things are available as well. Some of the solutions we do provide beyond just nuts and bolts, we do supply anything on the infrastructure side, fiber, indoor and outdoor DAS solutions, as well as microwave backhaul. And then in the middle there are supply chain solutions. You know, any product is not going to help you out if it doesn't get to site on time and in the right amount of money. So that's another thing that we do very well, is make sure that product gets to site when it's required. Just a little in-depth on the wireless infrastructure side of things. All types of cable, both fiber and coax, as well as custom connectorization, fully factory certified connector products for fiber and for coax. Antennas, whether they be in-building or for BSAs or outdoor macro antennas. Any accessory that's required on a tower, as well as a full line of DAS solutions for indoor, outdoor, small cell, and cabling and antennas. Thanks, and I'm going to hand it over to Mike. And as mentioned, any questions, just put them in the chat, and we'll get to them afterwards, and we will make sure you're contacted.
Great, thank you, Mike, and thank you again for the opportunity. Let me start with a hypothetical. You know, if you've ever been unable to have a call connect or to be able to upload a photo onto Facebook, even though you've got 5 bars on your phone, you've experienced the capacity crunch phenomenon, where the macro network becomes saturated during certain times. As Mike Short had introduced me kindly, my name is Mike Collado, and I have the privilege of leading marketing for Solid. I'm grateful to our friends at Alliance for the opportunity to share our observations on how the wireless market is experiencing evolutionary strategies for densifying the network. But the industry is also rapidly developing new strategies and technologies that will revolutionize how we densify the network. I'll share some forward-looking thoughts there as well. But first, a little housekeeping. These webinars can get a bit unruly with background noise, so Alliance has muted the participants. The webinar will be archived on the Alliance website, so you can share it with your colleagues. Just give them 24 hours to get everything uploaded. Before we dive in, let me tell you briefly about who we are. Solid keeps people connected and safe in a rapidly changing world through a portfolio of densification solutions that include RF amplifiers, RF radios, and optical transport. Our DAS solutions have been deployed at some of the world's best-known venues, including the New York City and Toronto subways, the Daytona International Speedway, Pearson International Airport, as well as leading hospitals, Olympic, professional, and college sports venues, government, university, and Fortune 500 corporate buildings and campuses, international airports and metropolitan subways, and other high-profile sites. Our optical transport solutions, including small cell backhaul and front haul for remote radio heads, have been battle tested by SK Telecom, where our gear is front hauling one of the world's first and largest centralized RAN or cloud RAN networks. Solid is also incubating and innovating future solutions that provide truly scalable and multi-purpose common infrastructure to support communications and other IP-based services, plus amplifiers that are smaller, lighter, and greener while delivering more power and support for more bands. This is the second installment of 2 webinars we're sharing on the evolution and revolution of densifying the network through DAS and small cells. The first focused on enabling coverage and capacity indoors. Today we focus on outdoor spaces. I suspect that many of you attended the first webinar, but we're probably also picked up a few new folks. As I mentioned, Alliance provides archives of the webinars, so I invite you to check out the indoor webinar from May 2nd. But I think it's also worth spending a few moments doing a quick level set to frame the problem, introduce the stakeholders, and define this word that I've been using, densification. So the problem is predominantly capacity, although for public safety the issue is about coverage. The capacity crunch manifests as blocked or dropped calls and inconsistent data speeds. We've all seen the hockey stick graphs that depict how the consumption of mobile data per month will increase multiple times over the next 5 years. But here's a more stunning statistic that gets lost in those charts, and it's this. Within any given geographic market, there will be locations where the mobile data network will be unable to meet the average level of data demand simply due to the congregation of large numbers of users. Picture yourself in Times Square. First, there are a staggering number of people in a very small footprint. So what are they doing? Well, they're taking photos and posting them to Facebook or Instagram, or even doing a FaceTime chat with the Times Square Jumbotron in the background. And it's literally crushing the network. So here's the rub. While those hockey stick graphs might predict that the average demand for mobile data may only increase 6-fold, the demand at specific times in Times Square may actually increase by a factor of 16. Folks, they're not making new spectrum. So the challenge is to deliver cost-effective coverage and capacity with limited spectrum. So now let's briefly talk about the stakeholders. I'm going to oversimplify and group the stakeholders into 3 main buckets: wireless operators, public safety, and what I'll call the structure owner, which for indoors is typically the venue owner, and outdoors it could be the venue owner or perhaps the utility or even the municipality. Let's also keep it high level as we look at the interests of these 3 key stakeholders. Operators are focused on quality of service while balancing total cost of ownership. In other words, they want to keep customers happy because the smartphone market has become commoditized and new subscriber growth is virtually stalled. Authorities having jurisdiction, or public safety, are focused on being able to communicate and interoperate with other first responders and emergency service agencies, as well as with the general public. This is a big part of the vision of the FirstNet public safety broadband network. And the structure owners, these are the municipalities or the utilities or the venue owners, well, they're focused on enabling our connected world and complying with municipal public safety requirements and maintaining aesthetics. Of course, all 3 are deeply affected by financial return of an investment. So lastly, let's define densification. In short, it's a word the industry has adopted to help describe getting enough capacity and coverage to where the users are. Let's talk a little bit about evolution. And this is an image I'm sure you recognize from the recent crop of AT&T commercials, which we're all, I think, in this industry really grateful for as a simple way to explain to our friends and families what we do for a living. Not long ago, enabling coverage and outdoor capacity in dense urban areas such as the National Mall in Washington, D.C., or in stadiums such as the Daytona International Speedway was handled by the macro network and augmented by distributed antenna systems. Outdoor DAS has historically been about high-dollar, high-power, 50-plus watt big iron used to blast RF signals where the macro couldn't keep up with demand. But that approach is wasteful of high-value assets, which is an underlying characteristic of the current evolution, which is about surgically and economically densifying the network where it's needed. Small cells are likely to play a big role in the evolution because they provide a low-cost alternative to enable coverage and capacity on licensed cellular bands. And we predict also a renaissance for ODAS, outdoor DAS. More on that in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to throw out a little positive controversy here and ask, so where are the small cells? You'll recall some major announcements in the past, and in fact, a well-known industry analyst quipped to me last year, the small cell hype has outpaced reality. So here's our take. Small cells are going to be deployed on a wide-scale basis. According to ABI research, we should see the first real ramp up in the fourth quarter of this year, and it's going to continue throughout 2015. But here's what's interesting. The industry originally looked to small cells for outdoor deployments. However, the pendulum has swung the other way, and now the industry is really positioning small cells as an indoor densification strategy. It should also be mentioned that with change comes disruption and the opportunity for new entrants. Right now, the small cell ecosystem appears to be poised to become a crowded space. Our prediction is to look for some companies to make it, others to be acquired, and still others to fail. Meanwhile, Ericsson is conducting small cell trials with AT&T and Verizon, as well as with Vodafone and SoftBank. And Alcatel-Lucent is conducting small cell trials with Verizon in both indoor and outdoor locations. So here's a little more positive controversy. The great DAS and small cell debate is just plain silly. Here's the background. The wireless industry has pitted DAS against small cells. The reality is that densifying the network is going to take a toolbox approach that includes DAS, small cells, Wi-Fi, and even other emerging strategies. We believe the unique characteristics of each project will inform which technology to deploy, perhaps even a hybrid approach, which brings me back to the earlier statement I made about a renaissance in outdoor DAS for densifying outdoor spaces. So some people trade baseball cards. I trade photos of really hideous-looking outdoor small cell antenna deployments. This one is a photo of a deployment in Gangnam, which is essentially the Times Square of Seoul, Korea. And I show this to make a point that densifying our outdoor spaces presents certain challenges. One is aesthetics. Another is that we're going to need to deploy a lot more stuff to densify our outdoor spaces. We're going to need a repeatable business process to not only address state. Where are we going to put outdoor small cells? It's also going to simplify the design, installation, and commissioning of small cells. This is an outdoor DAS concealed in a street pillar. What's compelling is that it's designed to blend into the streetscape as street furniture. It's closely located to existing fiber for backhaul. It's capable of supporting multiple services, including commercial cellular and public safety, and could also support municipal Wi-Fi. This also speaks to the evolution trend. Outdoor solutions are going to need to support RF and IP services. They're going to be synergistic in support of DAS and small cells by enabling signal sources and backhaul, and they're going to be readily approved by the municipality. In the time remaining, let's look beyond the current densification evolution and explore the wireless future revolution. We were on a panel last week at the PCIA Wireless Infrastructure Show talking about 5G networks, which are going to be faster and with fiber-like speeds, capable of enabling big data collection and analytics in real time, and intelligent to make network capacity assets based upon need and availability. At the same time, the FirstNet initiative seeks to build a public safety broadband network that enables first responders to stream high-definition video and access building schematics and other information in split seconds, while with network survivability to withstand natural disasters or even terrorist events. So the revolution is really going to be about building the wireless network for our future. The key characteristics of the wireless future center on a strategy that relies less upon the macro network to one where radios are denser and closer to where the users are. The wireless revolution is based upon all-fiber, next-generation networks in which a single infrastructure enables myriad RF and IP-based services where you do it once and the infrastructure remains while you swap out components and end pieces for upgrades. These networks will enable rich analytics and provide a true business model for return on investment. Let's also talk about radios and amplifiers. As they say, size matters. Future amplifiers will not only be smaller, but also lighter in weight and significantly more energy efficient. We're excited about the emerging opportunities that the densification evolution and revolution will bring. I appreciate your attention and interest and invite you to share your questions either now or after the webinar is over. While we're getting that going, I invite you to check out the Solid website and social media, including our blog, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube channels, where we regularly post industry trends and observations. Alliance also has a tremendous amount of information available, including archives of recent webinars. Mike, thank you again for the opportunity. I'll turn it back to you.
Hi, Mike. Sorry about that. I have to unmute Mike Short. We haven't received any questions, but we did receive a lot of questions when people registered. And I don't expect that you would cover some of these because I know a lot of them were very, specific. For example, survey and installation considerations, deaths. Some of these were related to indoor deployments. I think that the best thing for people who did ask a question that we didn't address when you answered it upon registration is that we will send out links to other webinars that we've conducted that do have a lot more details, for example, on designing DAS networks. And if there's anything that Mike Collado believes that we should address, he's going to follow up. Is that okay, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll review the questions as well together and make sure Solid and or Alliance gets back to anybody's questions. And again, they can contact any of us anytime. The email address was at the beginning of the presentation.
Okay, great. I just received a question, actually. I'm just going to read it out. With the focus being on outdoor small cells and given most applications being single technology or single carrier, wouldn't that imply a neutral host type outdoor applications? Sorry, wouldn't that imply a neutral host type outdoor applications will come later than Q4 2014? 2015 timeframe?
That's a great question. One of the challenges of small cells is that it's a single carrier focus. When I talk about the renaissance of ODAS, I believe that we're seeing a transition from really the big iron, high power outdoor DAS to lower powered DAS like 5-watt and 20-watt DAS that look an awful lot like a small cell that cover a smaller space. And the virtue of DAS, of course, is that it is neutral host. So while small cells continue to evolve, there are tools in the kit today in outdoor DAS that are able to densify the network and support multiple services, multiple wireless operators on the same infrastructure.
Okay, great. Does anybody else have any questions before we close things down? If not, like they said, everyone said you can follow up by email. You can respond to my email that you received, and I will forward it to whoever is the most appropriate. Okay, so I don't see any more coming in, so I'm going to say thank you to Mike Collado and thank you to Mike Short, and thank you to everybody for participating today. And keep an eye on your email for future. Oh. That's all right. I had one response. It was, given the last answer, then things bode well for DAS suppliers. Yes, that's right. Mike, do you want to add anything, Mike Collado?
Again, I think that with change comes opportunity, and it's truly a toolbox approach. No doubt that small cells are going to be deployed on a wide-scale basis. And it's like anything, you need to bring the right tool for the job, and each of these projects is going to inform us of what tools need to be deployed. So we're delighted to be in this space. We've got a significant portfolio, and I think the future is certainly going to be interesting.
Actually, you know what? Sorry, while you were speaking, there was a couple more questions came in. Mike, another Mike is asking, can you talk about vendors moving towards CPRI interfaces for active DAS equipment?
Yeah, so CPRI, absolutely. We certainly do see that as an increasing trend.
Okay, then the other question, the last one was, does Solid have a modeling tool for coverage and resiliency, especially for public safety?
Well, the industry standard, of course, is our friends at Ivy Wave. If that, hopefully that addresses the question. But yeah, I mean, certainly Ivy Wave and Solid are both members of an industry organization called the Safer Buildings Coalition. And the Safer Buildings Coalition is really an organization, a nonprofit that's designed to educate the market, develop tools, and municipal codes, fire codes, in order to ensure communications indoors for public safety. So I think between Ivy Wave modeling tools and the work that Safer Buildings Coalition does, you know, those are certainly some thought leaderships in the modeling area of public safety.
And they can always reach out to us, either Solid or Alliance, and we can help point them in the right direction. You know, there may be challenges with whether it's public safety and cellular or cellular and public safety sort of thing. So we can definitely help out on pointing in the right direction for designing.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody for participating, and look out for